Is Threads the Twitter killer? And if so, I just have one question. Why? Hi there, everyone. I'm Jeff, and this is Plain English, where we help you upgrade your English with current events and trending topics. This is lesson number 594. So if you're looking for the transcript, just go to plainenglish.com/594 and you'll see it there. That's thanks to JR, the producer. Every Plain English lesson has 5 parts. Did you know that? 5 parts? 2 of those parts are in the audio. We have a main story and we talk about an English expression. The story today is Threads, the new app from Meta, the maker of Instagram and Facebook. And the expression I'll teach you today is to get off to a good start. Now, I told you there are 5 parts. There's a step-by-step video lesson, and that lesson will show you how to explain the biggest reason for something, even if there might be more than one reason. This is a complicated topic, not for beginners. It's a way to express a complex idea, and we show you exactly how to do it in today's video at plainenglish.com/594. We have a section on informal speech too. It's called Learn the Lingo, and today's is about the term trash talk. And then there are our interactive exercises too, which help you with pronunciation, listening, grammar, prepositions, and more. So all of that is at plainenglish.com/594. With that out of the way, let's dive into today's story. Elon Musk is an accomplished man. He's the pioneer CEO of an electric car company, Tesla, the first to mass produce luxury electric cars that people actually want to buy. He co-founded PayPal. He's an investor and entrepreneur in many different industries. He made himself the richest man in the world, and now he has done something that might surpass even his greatest accomplishments to date. He made Meta cool again. Meta is the company formerly known as Facebook. Meta owns Facebook, Instagram, WhatsApp, and Oculus, which makes virtual reality headsets. Meta has struggled in recent years. Growth on its main platform, Facebook, has slowed, if only because so many people in the world already have it. Instagram has come under fire for promoting harmful content and negatively affecting its users' mental health. Mark Zuckerberg, the founder, placed a huge bet on the metaverse and changed the company's name to Meta. But the clunky headsets and lonely virtual worlds of the metaverse have not caught on with consumers. Most people can't even tell you what the metaverse is, much less where you can find it. Meta's stock price had fallen 75% from its peak. The stock price has recovered, but Meta still needed a win, and it got one this month with Threads. In technology, you often say you can build it or buy it. Mark Zuckerberg built Facebook. It was a new idea that started from scratch. But it bought WhatsApp. Someone else had built WhatsApp. Facebook bought it and improved it. But there's another option that sits between building a tool and buying a tool, and that is copying a tool. Meta is great at copying ideas from competitors. Do you like Instagram stories? Facebook copied that from Snapchat. Do you like Reels on Instagram? That's kind of like TikTok. And now it introduced a text and link-based social network called Threads, which looks a lot like Twitter. Threads was designed to compete directly with Twitter. When you open it, you'll notice a lot of similarities. It's text-based. You can share links and photos. You can follow other accounts and see those accounts' posts in your feed. You can reply to posts of others and tag users. Messages are short, no more than 500 characters. It's hard to build a social network from scratch for many reasons. First, you need a good idea, but you also need users to sign up, and you need users to come back and keep using it. Meta learned in the early days of Facebook that people will come back to a platform if they're connected to other people, if they have a reason to come back, and if it doesn't feel lonely. So instead of starting an app completely from scratch, Meta decided to loosely tie Threads to Instagram. When you download the Threads app, you use your Instagram login. Some people were confused by that. Why should I use my login from one app to access another? But that's a feature, not a bug. That means that you already have a login. You already have a username, and you can easily be connected to the accounts you already follow and which follow you on Instagram. Threads got over 150 million downloads in its first 2 weeks. Meta believes it can reach 1 billion users on Threads. That sounds ambitious, but there are over 2.3 billion active monthly users on Instagram, so it would only need to capture a fraction of Instagram's popularity to reach its goal. But why? What market need is Threads serving? Primarily, it's an alternative to Twitter, which seems to be self-destructing before our very eyes. Since taking control of Twitter, Elon Musk has implemented a bizarre set of policies that have infuriated users. He removed the blue check mark for verified accounts, expanded a subscription service that nobody really wanted to pay for. He reduced benefits of free accounts, scared off advertisers, and most recently limited the number of tweets a user could view. not post, view. Add to that Musk's polarizing style and controversial public statements, and a lot of people were ready for a change, and Meta was there to pounce. But that still doesn't answer the question of why. Why would Meta do this? Twitter is not very profitable. Twitter has never been able to monetize its users like other social networks have. It's not like there's a big pile of money in this type of platform. Even if Meta grabs a lot of user attention with a text-based app, even if Meta crushes Twitter and everyone moves to Threads, that still doesn't mean Meta will make any money off this project. Will Meta have the secret to monetizing a Twitter clone? Will Meta do a better job at monetizing a text-based app than Twitter did after its 17 years of trying? Maybe, but that remains to be seen. From the perspective of user adoption, though, Threads got off to a great start. The product is incomplete, but users didn't seem to mind at first. There's no way to access Threads from a browser. You can't DM users. There aren't clickable hashtags yet. It's not as easy to find relevant people to follow, and the timeline is not refined. You see a lot of random accounts. I was seeing a lot of posts from Ritz crackers, for example. Meta promises continued improvement in the future. For now, Meta is relishing its success. Despite some predictable trash talk from Musk, Meta, in its public statements, is promoting Threads as a positive, friendly place. It promised that the Threads algorithm would not promote controversial or divisive content. Still, they need to show that there's a reason to join, sign up, and keep coming back. The tie-in with Instagram shows they can get a user to sign up. But traffic data in the weeks after its launch showed that a lot of users were not yet ready to come back. There's probably a grace period of a few weeks or a month or two, but Threads is going to have to incorporate hashtags, DMs, and other features that users expect. And it's going to have to do that quickly, but it is looking good so far. It's crazy how fast things change. Instagram got to 100 million users after 2 years. WeChat, a little over a year. TikTok got to 100 million users after several months. ChatGPT in 2 months, and now Threads in 5 days. Speaking of social media, speaking of Twitter, here's a quote from the 1700s. It's by an English poet, Lady Mary Wortley Montagu. She said, "Civility costs nothing and buys everything." So we'll see about Threads, They promise not to promote divisive content. Is this a bit of a mea culpa? Does the market want this? Sometimes we say stuff like, civility costs nothing and buys everything, but our behavior values the controversy, the trash talk. We'll see. And that's today's quote, dating back a few hundred years, but still relevant, from Mary Wortley Montague. Civility costs nothing and buys everything. Now, I'll show you what it means to get off to a good or great or bad start. Threads got off to a good start. To get off to a good start simply means to start well. And typically we use this when the way something starts affects the mood or tone or foundation for the future. Threads had high expectations. If it had not started well, then the project could have ended just as quickly as it started. But it got off to a good start, and its initial momentum will set the foundation for it to grow in the future and for Meta to continue to make improvements. I finished writing this lesson on a Monday. I got off to a good start that day. I was up early. I had slept well the night before. I had a good breakfast. I was ready to go. Who knows what will happen later in the week? But I got off to a good start. I started well, and that laid the foundation for the rest of the week. You can use lots of different words instead of good. We got off to a bad start means just the opposite. The start was not good, and that set a negative mood for the future. I recently went to Las Vegas for some meetings. I missed my flight. I got off to a bad start. I got to the hotel at 10 o'clock p.m., 10 o'clock p.m., and my room was not ready. The trip got off to a bad start. It definitely got better over time, but it did not begin well. Here are some other words you can use to describe starting well. We got off to a strong start. That's probably the most common. We got off to a positive start, a great start, a promising start. We got off to a promising start means that the beginning of a process showed promise or suggested there would be future success. We got off to a smooth start means everything went well. There were no problems. It was smooth. It was successful. And here are some more that you can use to describe starting not so well. We got off to a difficult start. That's common. Or we got off to a rough start, a challenging start. CNN Plus was a streaming service associated with CNN, the cable news network. It was hyped as the future of television news. CNN invested $300 million in the platform, but it got off to a disastrous start. Nobody wanted it. CNN Plus didn't carry news, which CNN is known for. It carried fluffy talk shows, and consumers were not willing to pay for that. Subscriber numbers were low. The beginning was a disaster, so we say it got off to a disastrous start. And that set the tone for CNN Plus's entire brief existence. The streaming service lasted precisely 30 days. 3 weeks after it launched, executives canceled it. 1 week later, it was gone. Way back in lesson 13, and I remember this. It's not often I remember things from those double-digit lessons, but back in lesson 13, we talked about a rocky start. And that is another variation on the theme. If you get off to a rocky start, that means your start was not terrible, but not smooth either. There were some problems. I got off to a rocky start with my landlord here in Mexico. Yes, me. When I got here to Mexico, I didn't have a bank account and I had to pay a deposit of 3 months of rent. Don't ask. Anyway, there's a limit on how much money you can take out of an ATM every day. I didn't know that, or I guess I knew it, but I didn't think I would hit the limit. Well, I did, and I had to give my deposit, and I couldn't get enough money in cash to pay the deposit. And since I didn't have a local bank account yet, I couldn't transfer the money like a normal person. So we had to delay the official signing of the lease until I could wait 24 hours to get enough cash from the ATM to pay my deposit. We got off to a rocky start. It wasn't terrible, but it wasn't smooth. To my landlord's credit, he was patient with my situation and everything is going just fine now. We got off to a rocky start, but everything is better now. All right, so we'll do a few threads. Check it out. Plain English Pod on Threads. I'll link to it in the transcript. If you follow us on Instagram, you can find us on Threads, Plain English Pod on both platforms. We'll be back here on Thursday with a new lesson. See you then.